God bless you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
President Reagan has just concluded his speech here at the Carlton Celebrity Room. He went much longer than expected, a speech that took about 23 minutes. He only intended to speak about 10. Just to briefly recap what the president told us tonight, he says he does not always agree with Senator Dave Durenberger, but he will always listen to him. Again, the president, referring to his just announced budget proposal, says that it is not easy to talk about budget deficits. But he does note that it is the lowest annual increase in federal spending in 14 years, and social programs that are supposedly being cut, he says they're not being cut, only the rate of increases are being reduced. And he says, do not cut defense. That's about all we have time for right now. John, back to you.
All right, thank you. Dennis Bounds, live from the Carlton Celebrity Room, following that speech addressed by President Reagan. In just a moment, we will hear from the chief challenger. Mr. Mark Dayton is with us, to the host, Mr. Reagan today, and that will be in just a moment, so stay with us.
Playing with computers is one thing. Making a living with them is another. It's a big step up to the fast-growing world of computer programming and operations, but it doesn't have to be a long step when you train at Northern Technical School of Business. Learn more, earn more, all in less than a year's time. Find out how. Call 292-1143. Call Collect 292-1143. Graduate to a better career with Northern Technical School of Business.
In Raleigh, North Dakota, where winters are cold and costly, they're now warm and economical. Father Kenneth Wald heats 6 classrooms with Kerosene portable heaters. For 40 cents a day, these safety-tested kerosene heaters give him clean, odorless comfort. And for St. Gertrude's Parish, the savings were a miracle. Kerosene, because you don't have money to burn.
Available at Osseo Feed, Yoakum Oil Company, and Levon Brothers Plumbery.
For your best yield, you need long-lasting control, even on earliest planted corn. From now on, all you need is Diphenate.
This week, Park will remanufacture and reupholster your sofa from only $175, your chair from only $87. But call Park now. This sale ends in 7 days.
A lot of my growers use Sencor, even though they all seem to grow beans differently. I mean, they may plant conventional rows, drilled, or no-till. They may apply their herbicide pre-plant incorporated, surface blended, shallow mix, or with fertilizer. And they may be fighting cocklebur, or velvet leaf, or Jimson weed.
But they do agree on one thing, the one herbicide to use no matter what.
Sencor from Mobay. Don't grow soybeans without it.
We've heard from the president. Now we want to hear some response from the man most likely to oppose the president's host today, Senator Durenberger. With us now is Mark Dayton, DFL Senate candidate. Frankly, Mr. Dayton has the DFL nomination for the U.S. Senate all but locked up. You were with us listening to the president. You seemed to raise a little bit when he said something about we are not cutting the budget. He wanted to emphasize that point. You respond, please.
Well, in total, the budget is increasing, and the defense part of the budget was going up 18% as he's proposed, and top of a 21% increase last year. If you look at specific programs which Minnesotans value, such as aid for elementary and secondary education, that's being cut severely, aid to the handicapped, energy conservation, solar energy programs. So if you look at specific areas of the budget, they're in many cases being cut severely or even eliminated.
All right, you issued a statement in conjunction with the president's appearance today that he should be visiting other locations than just the Carlton Celebrity Room. Tell us what you meant by that.
Well, I think Minnesotans are honored to have the president visit our state, But I wish that in addition to his political activities, he could have taken the time to visit with some of the many Minnesotans who are being hurt, and in some cases being hurt very badly by his policies, however well-intentioned. Farmers, which he mentioned in his speech, are being devastated by disastrously low farm prices and high interest rates. We have over 30,000 Minnesotans who have lost their jobs in our state in the last 2 months. Senior citizens are being faced with higher health care costs as a result of some of the cutbacks which he has proposed. Small businessmen and women are being hit by high interest rates. So many Minnesotans are being hurt seriously, and I wish that he could have some time to talk with some of them.
What did you think of the president's appearance all in all here? Is this going to hurt you, having him stand up next to Senator Durenberger and make a lively speech as he did?
I think it's clear now to Minnesotans that Senator Durenberger and the president are very closely allied in their approach to policy, and Minnesotans will have a chance to judge for themselves in the months ahead whether these are policies which are helping or hurting our state. I think in important respects, these policies are hurting the very people that they were intended to help, the small businessmen and women, farmers, teachers, senior citizens, working men and women who are, in many cases in Minnesota, being hurt worse than their counterparts in other parts of the country, as even my opponent, Senator Durenberger, has acknowledged. And I think he could have done more, our senator, to protect the interests of Minnesota in Washington so that these changes at the federal level do not harm our future and the future of a state we want to pass on to our children.
On the night of the State of the Union, when the president announced his new federalism program, we had Senator Durenberger here, right here in the seat that you're sitting in, and he seemed to be keeping a distance from the president that night. He seemed to be separating himself a little bit. You're saying that you would like to see him allied with the president in the public's mind.
Well, they look pretty close together on that television monitor here this afternoon, and I think that the president's coming in here on his behalf, the first candidate that he's campaigned for anywhere in the country in 1982, is a clear indication of the importance that the Republican Party has placed upon retaining that seat. And this will give us a chance in Minnesota in the months ahead to see how these policies are affecting our state, and as we enter the campaign next fall, to talk about these issues and what Minnesota needs if we're going to have the kind of future we want.
All right. Thank you for being with us. We've heard from both sides. We appreciate you being here. In conclusion, it was a short but action-packed presidential visit to our metro area. As we reported earlier, Mr. Reagan will now be en route to Iowa, where he will address the Iowa legislature. Then it's on to Indiana, back to Washington, and a push to get the 83 budget through Congress. We want to thank you for joining us for this News Center 11 special edition. We've gone on a little bit longer than we anticipated. We will be back at 10 with a complete wrap-up of the president's visit and the rest of the day's news. So be with us then, and now we will join NBC Nightly News in progress. Good night.